and majority are some difficulties. So the Rashba says, it's in our papers, open the Rashba, page 2 in the Diaspora Yeshiva papers. The Dalach, you should know, I'm reading the page 2. You have mental page 2. Page 2 in the Diaspora Yeshiva papers. The Dalach, second paragraph, you should know. The Dalach, you should know more. Those fake odif keroiv. Fake, it's horrible like a majority. The heter impossible, the olim is stronger. The heter of fake is even stronger. Yoisamerov more than the majority. What's the right equivalent more? Rabbi Yoshua Rabbi Yuchsi. Rabbi Yoshua says if you see a woman that she's engaged to a Kohen speaking to somebody, you found her red-handed with somebody. The question is somebody is a goy, is a mamzer nosin apostle, it's a kosher Jew. So you follow the majority of the people in the city that came to her, Jews, so there's a right. Rabbi Yeshua says no. Legabe yuchsin pesel b'chadrub. How can I marry this girl? Even the majority of the people in the city are Jews. Umar Shabbos fake. But it's machshir with a double doubt. You have a double doubt, Rabbi Yeshua permits. So what do we see here? Very clear. That one majority, Rabbi Yuchsin, Chumra of Yuchsin of Kahuna, we don't machshir this girl to a Kohen, although majority are Jews. No, we say maybe Madame and I live with her, and she's canceled for a Kohen. That's what Rabbi Yeshua says. Rabbi Yeshua says, Roy, it's not enough for making a woman for Jewish man, for a Kohen. She has a sveika, she could marry a Kohen. Not in this case, different case. Sveika, if a woman if you have a sveika, if she lived with a non-kosher Jew, let's say you don't know if she went to them or they came to her. Sveika. So you have sveika, we permit. Wow. Yeah, but we see that's what he says about Esha. The rabbi, that's what he says possible. What is possible? You can break it, maybe only by my life, only this fake is stronger than Horiv. But he says Esha possible, that's indication, call it indication, that fake is stronger than Horiv. So first of all, fake is the power of strong keroi. And possible, and even more than Roy, that you see by Ku'uma, you've seen that fake works. And we started with the Rashba. Rabbis, come on in. There's a table here. Take some of those plastic chairs and come close, please. Reb Shlomo, give them some, those plastic chairs. Give the rabbis plastic chairs. Shalom Aleichem, Reb Yisachar. Okay, guys. So we started with the Rashba. We're going to the Pnei Yeshua, guys. So Reb Shmuel and Reb Yisachar, I wanted to tell you that my goal today is we're going to explain the Machlokes in the Rashba. Toy says according to the Pnei Yeshua. Oh, Reb Meir, come on in. Oh, Reb Moshe, come on in. Guys, that's trickling in. I hope you have some cakes in the back. Okay. So guys, so our goal is to explain the Machlokes between the Rashba and Toys, according to Pnei Yeshua. And I want to use the Rashas to bypass the Pnei Yeshua. The Toys is not really arguing the Rashba. Okay, that's my goal today. I want to show, like, as I say, pull a rabbit out of my hat and show that there's a way to bypass this. But it's a very important Rashash. In Spanish, mucho importante Rashash. Very important Rashash. Listen, this is Yad Nishmai. So the first of all, the Rashba says, you have papers, Rabbi? Good. The Rashba says on page 2 that Sveika is better than a majority. It's adif, it's strong. It's preferable like Keroi, and possible more than Roy. And now he concludes. Guys, now, because of this, he concludes a law, halacha. What is halacha? Listen carefully. The Kerot Shekeh, Once the Rashba defined that Sveika is preferable, like a majority, it could be more, it comes to a conclusion la very strong, important Rashba. This Rashba is being used la halacha everywhere. It's a very, very famous Rashba. Why? We'll see soon in the Pnei Yeshua. The cave of Shekeh, in the same way that I have the power of the Holy, strong that it can remove Ischazik Isur. Kegoy, for example. If I have a piece of a prohibition, I have 3 pieces antrikot, 3 pieces antrikot number 5 for tonight mangal, Bezrat Hashem. Right, Rabbi Reuben? Chulent, okay, whatever you decide. But the chulent has to have meat, too. Okay, so you have 3 pieces of meat in the chulent. All number 5s look the same. One came from an avela, a treifa, and 2 came from a kosher. You don't know what it is. So what's the law midoraisa? Even though he's chazik, you know, for sure. One of those pieces is treifa and avela. It's both of the midoraisa. You have to throw one piece out. Cannot eat all of them together, right, Rabbi? Good. You can eat all of them. Nas. Okay, there's another shaila. What's the point? But whatever it is, a pasha is eter. You're not eating. Somebody asked me, "You're going to have kilkul aseichel tim to malev?" It's also not so simple, right? But pasha says you're not eating it. Okay, you're not eating all of them, guys. Let's go. So the power of John can permit the food to eat. Johnny can permit these chazik isu. If I know the status that is with those pieces as a status of isu, just as mixed, I don't know what it is. The power of can permit even this chazik isu. Same way makes it makes a jump, a connection, a dimyon. And he draws a law. Afilu the sharia. Afilu bischazik isur. When I have tzveik, even though it's chazik isur, tzveik overcomes ischazik. Because like a eye, who has stronger? And he says, Toisvis is not so. Our Toisvis it's not possible that he agrees with the Rashba. Let's see the Pnei Yeshua. And then we have to understand what the Rashba holds. How the Rashba defines Sveika, and therefore he comes to the conclusion that is stronger even against his chazik. And why Tosfos, according to the Pnei Yeshua, why Tosfos hold that Sveika doesn't help against his chazik, means he understood the concept of Sveika in a different way. So we're going to explain our machlokes, B'ezrat Hashem, simple. And then I want to use the Rashash, very important Rashash, to bypass this whole story here and put another element to the sukkah, which is very important no matter what to know this element. No, Rashash is Rashash like more. There's four strass. Yes, yes. Okay, so let's see Tosfos, the Siyata Bishmai. Tosfos. Lo yitzricha be'eshes koyim. So the Gemara says the case of Rablozo, which is one suffix. What is the case? It's just kohen. She's engaged to a couple. She's getting married, and he found this patuach as one suffix. She's always also been one as well. Not is muteres. Bimtona, Taisa says. Benukma, let us put her, this woman, discuss on her status. She's permitted to a kohen. The name, let us say, the laftach of zinsa. Doesn't come to us and he says, wait a second. We have a chazok called cheskas eter, chazok of eter, based on that every Jewish woman, without knowing anything else, she has a chazok to be kosher Jewish woman, and you believe that her action follows the Torah, and therefore, although she's petach patuah. So what I just say, it happened under him, before the engagement, she's permitted. So they says, let us say, because it's cheskas heter, that it happened not under, she's permitted to burn. You don't know if this woman is permitted to burn or not. What? Maybe she's permitted under him. Maybe not under him. Chazaka tells that she's still kosher and it happened in a good way before the engagement. Tosis answers the Adrab. The Abba here, Tosis uses a language which we didn't find in Tosis Rosh. Tosis Rosh says, "V'ya shloimar diike chazok achis." The Tosis is Adrab. The word Adrab is mashma, that is stronger. V'ya shloimar the Adrab. Eastern Lemeva, there is for us to say. The Ashtonimalo, now she was cohabiting. The Hukma Cheskas Haguf, I put her in the status of the body, she besula, which means when a girl is born on betula. She grows, she has a chazok, she has a status to have being betula. So now you see she's not. The rule is when you have chazok of the guf, you say that the not betulin came as late as possible. So the Cheskas Haguf is pushing to say that the opening happened as late as possible, right before the Nisuim. Under the Kohen's domain means between the engagement and the marriage, as close as possible to the marriage. And the Cheskas Heter tells us what? That happened before the engagement, because we want to permit her. So he says, where's one out of her? There's opposite. Not that it is one against one. Cheskas Haguf could be even stronger than the Cheskas Heter. Where do we see that? Open page Ayin Amud Beis. Ayin Beis. Ayin Amud Beis. Doisa says there clearly, there's a sugya there of Bali Mumi. Bali Mumi, if a woman gets married and there's an argument she was blemished or not. So the husband says, oh, she was blemished before the engagement, is a mekach tos. And she says, no, I was blemished under you. So if she's still in the house of her father, she needs to bring the proof. The father, which is she, that it happened afterwards. But if she's already in the domain of the husband, he needs to bring a proof that it happened before. This is Rabbi. So the Gemara goes back and forth. Why in the Reisha, when she's in the domain of the husband, of her father, the father needs to bring a proof. Without a proof, the husband is believed. It's Rabbi Yoshua that says, I don't care what she says. It goes back and forth. The Gemara says, like this. Kilo is in Rabbi Yoshua, page Ayin A, 75b. Kilo is in the middle of the page. Kilo is in Rabbi Yoshua, but Chazokat de Kufa. When Rabbi Yoshua doesn't follow the Chazok of the Guf, Chesed Guf means she had no blemish. You don't know when the blemish came. So what the Chazok of the Guf says? First of all, understand the concept. Chazok of the Guf says that Chesed Guf Besulim happen as late as possible. They're the subject of the Gemara, page 85, 75 is talking about, there's an argument when the blemish came. The woman has Chesed Guf that said it happened as late as possible. Yet Rabbi Yoshua says, I don't believe her. Chazok of the Guf doesn't help. Because the subject matter is money. And with the Chesed Guf, we want to take up money. Rabbi Yoshua says, you don't feel Chazok of the Guf. The Gemara says, if you have a queen against money, Chazok of money, who's holding the money, the Chesed Guf says that the blemishes came under him as late as possible, therefore she deserves 200 Hamekachtos. And he, as holding the money, says, it's a Mekachtos, tell him to bring me a proof Hamekachtos. So can I take that out? She has Cheskas Mon and she has Cheskas Guf, fighting each other. But Shua says, Cheskas Mon overcomes Cheskas Guf. Zog Toisvis. English. Third Tois is on the top. Fourth is on the top. English. Then he says there, 2 against 1. There, she's a Cheskas Pnuya, Cheskas never got married. This Cheskas woman, she's holding the money, means never got married. She has a Chazok of being single. Plus, I have money. I'm holding the money. So I say she's still single because it's Mekachtos. So I have 2 Chazokas, money and Cheskas Pnuya against Cheskas. So therefore, I found Cheskas Momoin with Cheskas Pnuyo, Dashka. יש חזור הרס לעמידות חסקס פנויות, דווקא כי היא כחסקס ממוין, להעלים על חסקס הגוף כנגד חסקס ממוין. אבל אין חסקס הגוף, חסקס הגוף משאר חזקס. חסקס הגוף is the strongest from all the other chazos. So maybe that's what Taisus means here. Taisus proves it from the Lashon of Gemara. So Taisus said, let's go back here. So I'm saying maybe that's what Taisus means, Adarab. There's a big shaila if it stays Lamaskona or not. It's not our subject right now. Just saying, there's definitely a stage in the Gemara that also shaila that's Lamaskona or not. When I read Taisus, the Adarab, Yisrael seems to be saying that Cheskas Aguf is stronger than Cheskas Pnuya. Because he's not saying you're Shloim the Chazakas Riti and they can't cancel each other. He says Adarab. Is he can't go after Cheskas Eter, Cheskas Kashrus, because Adarab is Cheskas Aguf, which is stronger. No money. This is there. Forget about it. You have to eat all about it. Yes, okay, we're going to talk about this. This is what we're going to talk about. Okay, now we're going to talk about it. So now we're going to see the Pnei Yoshua. Pnei Yoshua has a big shaila that we have a fake. Okay, let's see the Pnei Yoshua. It's in page 3. Page 3, we have the Pnei Yoshua. I hope everybody prepared. We're going to read the Pnei Yoshua, glance it through. I'm going to start reading inside. I'm going to say the rest a little bit by heart. I want to make it quicker. And then maybe I'll do, it's not so big. I can do it all inside. People have the patience of it. So let's read it inside. He says, still, I have a strong kasha on Toyson's question. How is possible? How can Toyson Havamina Cheskas Eter can permit Eshes Koyer? Why not? The table clay. Knock it out. There's 2 doubts to Isu. 2 doubts, fake Isu. Normally, by relationships, we have 2 sides to permit, 1 side to permit it. Here, by just going to have 2 sides to prohibit, to permit. So how can Cheskas Eter work that out? Maybe the doubts against 1. Maybe the snooze was on the rim. And he can go to say it's not on the rim. Even though so, maybe she had a snooze with a guy. That she canceled her the kuna. Come on, baby. Yes. 1 second, you give me 3 more lines, and I'll summarize. It'll be very easy. I'll spell it out. I'll spell it out with numbers of sides. So wait with me a few minutes. Even Gamliel. The Gamliel says that the majority of psulim, and the woman says, I was with a kosher one. Gamliel says, I believe her. Even Gamliel that uses a roy to mashir, which says clear that a kosher nivata was cohabitate to a kosher man. If she's silent, she's also. So here she's denying or silent. So therefore, he says, I have fake isu. And he spells it a little bit more. Spells it a little more than we'll summarize by heart in a second. Don't answer the Akati Makta is asking. He says, no. Maybe the majority of the city are Jews. She wasn't out, somebody came to her. So majority are good. So it's only 1 suffix. Suffix under N. She's also. Suffix not under N. Maybe is a Jew, she's kosher, maybe is a Goy, she's also. No. You have majority Jews. And we found a majority. There was a Jew that came to her. So it's 1 suffix. Suffix under him, she's also no matter what. Not under him, she's moved no matter what. Why? because majority are Jews. So the Roy tells a Jew came there. That it's not possible to explain to us. Why? And this is where we start, and here where I want to push in the Pnei Yoshu. The Rashash, there's a gift. Comes the Pnei Yoshu and he says, no, that's not true. This woman.
She said she was silent. How do you know she was silent?
We don't know. She opened eyes or silent. The Gemara spells it out what she's saying. She opened eyes, she opened eyes or she's silent. Open eyes, silent. But if she explains that Rishonim says that we learned last week, that she's believer. But they don't say anything. They don't say anything. No, it's open because it's open. We say, but shtikin. That's exactly the point. When it's open, it can be all possibilities. So now he says, listen carefully. He says, one second, before I release it. He says that you can't say that Peskas Eter because I have fake Alisu. I have two sides against one side, two sides to permit. The two sides. So now if a Jew is permitted, with a Gosh is prohibited. He didn't answer that the majority of the city are Jews and they came to her. Why? Lisa. The time is specific. The husband just says the opening is open. He doesn't know what happened. Now she's 13 years old, 14 years old, 15 years old. What happened from 3 years old to 14 years old? We don't know. The Shema maybe the cohabitation happened in the field. The if it happened in the field, majority of the world are going. And if it happened in the city, and even happened in the city, depends. If they came to her, the majority of the city are Jews, okay. But maybe she went to them. The rule is, it's 50, so let's measure sides. Okay, how many sides we have to commit? How many sides we have to prohibit? This is very important for the whole piece here to understand. He said, how can place out a cash? That Peskas Eter will permit by one Sofer Kabishas Koyen. That's not true. Two Sveikers Li. So let's pull out the sides. If I happen, I have two hands. Eat is what? Rachamim. And smile is din. Okay? So the Isur I'll put in my left. The Rachamim that she's permitted to a Kohen, I put in my right. Okay? That's all. If I happen under him, the matter which is also, right? One down. Oh, one up, okay. This is the left hand. So always also. Not under him. In the field, she's also. Sorry, this is Esau here. In the field, she's also, right? It's true. Under him, she's always also. In the field, she's also.
No, scream, the didn't scream. How do you know?
Nothing to do. Don't worry. She can scream on us. We don't know that. But we follow the majority of the world and reference to a Cohen. We know that the Suk, the mean, who lived with her, not was rape or free will. The Suk, who lived with her. We say majority are going, boom, she's out for a Cohen. So 2-0 anytime, right? If it happened in the city, it depended. If they came to her, she's committed. No. So 2 against 1. Listen carefully right now. Hold your tongue. But if she went to them, Kol Kavua, so since even the majority are Jews, but minority are going and it's Kavua, so it always becomes like 50-50, like the rule going. So then it's 50-50. So it stays 2 against 1. It's 1.5 against 2.5, right? So 50-50. So you have 2.5 against 1.5. Capish? 2.5 against 1.5. Who loses? 2.5. So remember, how can Cheskal Eter? Just going Mati. So happen under him, 2 against 1. 2.5 against 1.5. So It's fake and saw 2 sides or 2.5 sides again, 1.5 side in the mountain. So the roiv dotim ale isu. So therefore, it's fake and saw should be also. No, hetzi. She went to them as kavua mechza. Means in your side, you can see 50-50. Possible was a Jew, possible a goy. Soda is going. No, Soda is Vaday going. I said. Under is Vaday also. Soda is Vaday also. Yes, a side. If it happened in Soda, she's also. If she's also. Now, if it happened in the city, he depends. In the city, if they came to her, she's permitted. If she went to them, it's chatzi. Correct. Very good. So then I have 2.5 sides against 1.5 sides. What's the big enough? I'm not stop counting this. It's very important for the next stage. Before we'll continue with the Bnei Yeshua answers. Yes.
Part of it, like outside and inside is 2 separate entities somehow. It's like 2 writings.
Okay. Good. So before we'll continue, what the Bnei Yeshua answers inside, I'm going to say very simple final answer of the Bnei Yeshua. I'm going to jump a little bit. Then people get mixed up. The Bnei Yeshua answers, no, must be that Toises argues. What does that mean? Very simple. We said 2.5 sides against 1.5 sides. There's also the majority is fake isu. So therefore, how can Chazaka permit? Must be no. Fake is stronger than Chazaka. The Ashba said fake is like and wisdom Chazaka. That's what Rabbi just learned, right? From places we see that even though we have fake we do get an assumption. We have fake Yet places here the Cheskas enter should permit. Must be places home. That Chazaka is stronger than fake doesn't knock out a Chazaka. The cash is the answer. Now we have to explain what's the machlokes in Svara. Okay, this is the way that Bnei Yeshua is learning Toises. Bnei Yeshua is saying there's machlokes between Toises and Svara. So fake wins even against his Chazik. It's like a Hoim is against his Chazik. Also, fake is against his Chazik. From Toises we see, Toises says, let's just go and let's follow Cheskas Enter. Wait a second. But it's fake and Yisura here. Unless we're going to knock out, it's not fake in a second. But if it's fake and Yisura, how come Toises says Chazaka wins? Must be Toises. That Chazaka can solve even fake and Yisura. That's just the answer. This is the Yeshua. Then he steals the Toises and Rambam. We'll see in a second. But we have to understand in Svara Sadovo, why the first understands that fake is Oviv Keroiv and can fight even Chazaka. Why Chazaka and Roiv is strong? But por qué? Why? The logic is simple logic. Very simple logic. Because Roiv is probability. Chazaka is a status. It's anogo. So probability always, the mitzvah always overruns anogus. Chazaka. That's the simple form. Right? Normal Chazaka is a status. That's what the Cheskas Aguf is. Probability is only, what is it? That's what we're going to talk about. But normally Chazaka, like Cheskas Eter, which is Chazaka, is a status, against the Roy, which was a probability. Right? Who wins? The reality. Not probability. That's what I mean. Probability anyone you want. That's what it did not tell. Chazaka from. Where we learn Chazaka from, the Gemara says, from the Mitzvah. Shosha Nogach, the Gemara says we learn from Mitzvah. That the Kohen goes in, and he sees the house is Tome, and when he leaves, he says it's Tome, but maybe a change went down. Moses Chazaka. I'm saying.
Why You want to, how do you know which way? What's it say?
I said a simple svora. I didn't say it's muchach. I said a simple svora. Why Ruben Chazok Rubo Odif? Because Rubo, it's umdana, it's probability, it's chances, in numbers. Who knows what are we going to say? The svora is that we have Rubi, which is probability, against Chazok, which is a status, Zanogo. Vadai, the probability should win a status.
In the case of the Cohen, if we have in that neighbor a Rob, Bossi, May, and Ugoy,
Yes.
even though I say Thor and he goes out, he's going to be after down. The suffix will feel because
Yeah, but you have to connect the voice to that. The fact you have majority the houses affects has to be a majority that affects the story. Probability that affects the story. Not that it's nearby. There's another two guys standing next by in the Mitzoyro, doesn't mean about him. Has to be able to connect. The majority is on this case. That gives a probability on this case, yes.
it seems. That's what it's not wrong. It's probably in study. It's not probably in the seems.
Right. 1 second. Very good. So the Rashba made a big jump. The Rashba said that the power of faker. It's like is preferable kerev, like a majority, even though majority is a probability. And fake is majority of disabilities. It's a big jump. Why should we say? Because Roiv is a smaller probability. What do you mean probability and possibilities? Who says I don't know. Who says different? Who says that the same? That possibilities and probabilities are the same. Probabilities are something more reality and smaller. Possibilities are only longest and longest, less of a smaller. So therefore rules. So therefore, how can you connect smallest to rules? Listen, you have to bring it up. Yes, the majority of the Sanhedrin says the probability is, you heard about United States of America you come from. They have this concept of Samoini. They have a jury of 12 people from the street, random people. It could be some of them are crazy drug addicts, who knows what, doesn't matter. They just pick up names, 12 names. I remember a friend in my yeshiva, in Slobodka Yeshiva. His father, America caught him with laundering money. Famous guy in Nashville. And his son stayed by me. Almost a year and a half. Not by me, but my father. My father's house. He grew up by us because his father was in jail a couple of years till he had a jury. And you know how he got out of the jury? He had a NIS. 8 out of the 12 were black people. Not against black, but 8 of the black people. So he went out, and when he told his case, he spoke in the black English.
Black
What?
Black accent.
Black accent. The language with the accent. He spoke like this, and all those smiling, and they kids guilty. America, majority of, because they're not statistics. The probability is that if you take majority of opinions, that's a truth. Numbers, yes, very good. So let's go back to us. It's a small. It's the same. I'm not saying you off the wall. It's saying it's against a simple song. Guys, look. So they also made a job. That's fake of study. Majority of science is like a majority of reality. But majority of possibilities. But he made a deal on. He says it's the same power, even stronger. So therefore, it's against Chazok. Must be the places that says not so. Places says, Cheskas ete max out Sofek Koyen. Even though Ishas Koyen is not as Sofek as fake Yisura, as the Yeshua proved. Must be as Chazok, which is a hamburger, fights. Even fake must be, doesn't look at it as a holy, as a probability, the possibility, I like probability, but it's only for possibilities. It's not against Chazok. It's a Sofek, I have a Sofek. So now, Sofek have a Sofek cooler, but I have a suffix if I have a suffix to permit, but otherwise the simplicity stom is the also. That's fake Isu. And Chazok, which is Hanoga, sounds you have the other now, doesn't matter. You have a Chazok, and Chazok is a status that you don't know where you found it. There's not a power for it. So before I will mention my point, so I want to use the Rashash to uproot this whole story in my mind. I want to read inside the back and forth between the Rambam Shita and Toises, okay? It's in the black letters in the middle of the Pnei Yoshua. He says it makes sense to the Kotel Rambam and I see also. Don't time on Sveke Doraisa Lechumo. Can it's possible to say the Rambam Shita that we have Sveke Doraisa Lechumo is Miderapon Lechumo. Midoraisa is Lekula. Sovek Midoraisa is Lekula. Miderapon is Lekuma. So when you have a suffix and a suffix, is a suffix Derapon. Because suffix Doraisa Lechumo is only Miderapon Lechumo. A suffix of a suffix is a suffix Derapon. Turn it to Derapon. Made a suffix Derapon is Lekula. I wish I was fake Derapon. The Reise has fake Amishai. Midoraisa suffix Doraisa is Lekula from the Torah. It's only Derapon Lechumo. So they have a suffix on that, it's only suffix on the Derapon. They can't have a suffix Hashem, have a suffix Derapon Lekula. He said, that's only, one second, I want to say a very important point of the Pnei. So that's only, big Yesod of Yeshua. That's only if I have fake Lekula. It's fake Lekula. He says, here there's no difference, one suffix and two suffix. This is a big Yesod of the Pnei. Because he holds, Midoraisa, when I have one suffix, it's permitted. Midoraisa. So on the rabbi said, worry. So when I have one suffix, and now that I have another suffix, I have three sides of suffix. And three sides to prohibit, one side to permit. He says with the rights, it doesn't change. The same way one suffix is permitted, even two suffixes is also permitted. Any more sides, you're not getting more sides. Possibilities, not probabilities. So he may let me the rights and since there's a rule, the Kevon, Shekosano, the Loitzi Isha, me to take a woman out of her husband. You always follow the rice or so the rice lekula. It's two strikers, three strikers, fucking strikers, all the same. So he made me ask the sharp precautions places. Because there I can follow even two strikers, me doraisa. Here I have to follow doraisa because I don't want to take a woman out of her. He made me have many strikers. It should be lekula. It should be lekula, even two strikers. And he made chazok can be lekula too. I don't know, chazok helps that. So you may learn how to do Raisa, therefore you follow his cassette. Says they're not going to send Toishas. But since Toishas holds that's how we do Raisa, Lechumas, between the Raisa, it's all over Shas. Rashi and Toishas all over Shas in Masechet Subas many times, in Masechet Nida many times, many places. It's a known Shita. And he says, he proved it in his Kuntres Meyucha Betachlis Harichos. To learn the Kuntres of Yeshua, that Rashi holds that's how we do Raisa, Lechumas from the Torah. Okay, and this is the rule he says. So therefore he says, "So the Raisa lechuma midoraisa." El asvira le Rashi in Toises the sveka the Raisa lechuma midoraisa. In Kevin, the question goes back to its place. Kevin when I bring a sveka lechuma. Koshkalach, since I say sveka lechuma, more so lechmi. If I have sveka lechuma, one sveka is. Midoraisa lechuma. So you have two shakers. It's not a suffix derapon. It's just you have we mati. Suffix lechuma. Two shakers we mati. So that means they have to koshkel achmi. If I have two shakers, again, if I have two shakers lekula, which I need more strength, called the Torah atifa. Suffix doraisa from the Torah. It says you have one suffix. The Torah says you run away from it. Two shakers to believe. You need more strong, you need bigger muscles. So surely if I have two sfekas la'achmir, surely I should machmir, because I need less strength to machmir. So it's a kol sheken. So how can we follow chazaka? The question comes back. Must be that chazaka is stronger than sfekas, because sfekas is not like a That's his conclusion. Now I want to read the Rashash. You want to say? Yes.
stuff independently, Chazaka would have power over the sub,
Yes.
theoretically. So why is the Yeshua saying that if you put both speakers together, then Chazaka doesn't have power? Why not?
Because that's the rules. If you have one subbag, it's also with Oraisa. If you have two speakers, so you may kill of Machmir. So how can Chazak can permit that?
A cup of coffee, that if you spill out one.
So it all depends. That's exactly what I explained. It's not a question what is Chazak. The question is what is fake sveika? If the fake sveika is like probability, although it's a possibility, I look at it as a probability, so then Chazak cannot knock it out. Fake sveika is just possibilities. Chazak yourselves, Chazak is a status that tells you as if that's what happened. Yes. And Chazaka says, who are you talking about? Toises, according to Maskonas of Yoshua, Toises Shita? Explain who I'm not.
Chazaka has no power again. It's not a mean of the country.
No, it's not going to be discussed. Yes.
Saying, really?
And this to this void, yes. And his answer is, it must be in the priest Rashba. So as we must argues on the Rashba. So what's the argument? The Rashba perceive majority of psi like a majority of probabilities. And he says, no, two sides. And when you have a chazaka, which is anoga, solves the sides. It's two sides, not probability. Possibilities. So you figure out it's a simple, classical way that everybody and all the yeshiva learns the sugi. That's what they learn in Toises and Rashi. Not my word. Everybody says it. There's no even a child of 15 years old in any yeshiva world that doesn't know this Shua. It doesn't know this mechloikes. How I perceive fake. This is common, no knowledge. To bring the Brit Nashash. What the Toises is Roiv Stodim. It's not Roiv. It's not like I don't look at it as Roiv Metzias. I look at it as Roiv Stodim. So it's just it's Roiv, so it's a rule, but it's not a svara. Therefore, Chazaka solves the problem. Yes.
If there is two speakers, it should be right in the Gemara. The Gemara didn't ask that question of the thing. So why?
Right. Not the Gemara. The Gemara didn't say anything. The Gemara says, "It's a square." Can be because I shake is also shake lisur. He says, "My shake because shake hacker." Lo tzricha is a square. Could be. It's not only one sefer. The Lord shake lisur. That doesn't change. How do you don't know that's what it means in the Gemara? The Gemara just the first answer is just conscious also. And Rabbi understood why. That's one thing. He says, no, because two shekels in Surah. He says, that's true. So why the Gemara why this is ask? How's that later? Good. Shh. Comes the Rashash, not on this Toisvis, in the next Toisvis, on the same subject. Toisvis next Toisvis as a kasha on Eisha Skoya. This is the Rashash. And this is the Rashash in the Nigle. Rabbi Shmuel Strasson. He was the Av Beis Din Dayan in Vilna. In Vilna, the city of the Goyim of Vilna. You can imagine to be a Dayan there, Av Beis Din had to be a big man. Okay? Rashash. Rashash was a big man.
No. Rabbi Shalom Sharabi.
Sharabi is Shmuel Strasson. There was a kasha, the third toy is on the top. The middle is 4 lines before the end of the middle lines. The impoima, akati beish skoya. Ubikibel of your kiddushin pchusum ipasishol shonim leisrael ikes fik. Sofek mukas 8. Sofek dusa shish. Iti tzlanarena mukas 8. Sofek tak tov second tak. He says, "Va'eshes kohen as double sofek." under him, she's prohibited. Not under him, she's permitted. Even under him, maybe she's mukasates. Not a man did it. She got hit by a stick. She's permitted to a coin. She says mukasates is out of the picture. Why is there a shash and he has the kasha there? And this kasha brings the whole story. It opens a big wound. This is what Rashash says. The Rashash on this place is the Teta Mudalev. Dibur Matchil. By Seima. The internal in Kansas second out also. Kosher. Down in the sheets. It's in the back of the Gemara. Gemara you have. But because, instead of reading inside, use the Svara. It's the Svara Sadov, and then we read inside. This kasha I had to myself for many years. Many, many years. Simple kasha. Everybody should ask this kasha themselves. Yehonis, Yaakov, Mendy, Rabbi Yosef. There's a simple kasha you ask yourself. Rabbi. Anybody who's called a rabbi should wake up. Rabbi. Okay. Rabbi. Simple kasha. Even though our possibility and probabilities, why the time is not a fact. Timing should be a factor. Timing should be a factor. Let's say, she's going. She got engaged when she's 13 years old, 14 years old. She got married, 14 and a half years old. The possibilities and the probabilities. Time. Time is money. Time, right? Time magazine. It's a probability. When 3 years old till 13 or 12, whatever she got engaged, it's a very long time of time, period of time. So if I ask you the probability when this woman was raped, somebody looked at the website. Okay, maybe 3 years old, she didn't do it, but somebody maybe did it to her. When she's 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, maybe she did it to herself. She's 12 to imagine herself. Okay, we don't know. We take the time. Stabilities, reality that somebody can have. Many father has many girls. The Gemara says, what was there that his children are girls on the cables, are females? The Gemara says, should be in the cables. Why? Well, you always have to worry. Maybe somebody in your acting, they're not the female strength in the world, the weaker, the weak people, weaker in the meaning of the world. And nice as the guy that was the home that makes the game. She could be the home, she could be the mice is a strong, dangerous mice that attack her. Mice, it's not our story. Shit. Shaking the wits all day long. Hold on a second. So, second, uses the barometer. Jim, fine. There's a square. What are the doubts? Listen, sorry. Not that hard. She's prohibited. As the show says, it depends the field. She's prohibited. See the pen. She went to him to get her. 2 against 1 to that. Second. 1 second. There's another factor here. Time. There's a probability. Why you ask you what the probability this happened? Short period of time. The big, you like to buy there. The big, right? So if I ask you what this is going to happen, so I have another prayer. Time. The majority of the time is like Tachtov.
Let's use the parameter that is maybe she's beautiful.
Right? Good. So when a person has a beautiful girl, when the probability happen in the peak period of time of life or the short period of time of life?
She goes out, she is beautiful. When she is a girl, she has no whatever. Shadayim.
Doesn't matter. When you have a beautiful girl, depends who are the mice.
Just a crazy guy.
No, depends who's around. Depends who's around. Now, you assume that she got engaged at 12 and a half. She got engaged 13, 14, 15. This is, the Gemara is open. Where's Rabbi Fisher? The Gemara is open. Could be 15 years old, she got engaged, or 18 years old got engaged. I don't know when. Okay? So if I ask you, definitely the time period between the engagement and the wedding is the short period of time that before the possibility that it happened, the probability that it happened. The many possibilities of options that something happened between 3 years old until she got engaged, the probability that it happened there because of the many possibilities. Every time she goes to a girlfriend, she goes back by a bus at night, she had this friend, she goes to a friend, it could be a pedophile father, brother, sister, neighbor, an Arab worker. Woo! Go to those places that it protect women, they'll give you a whole list of possibilities. So the possibilities of time create a probability here, right? So maybe that's Teishas Kasha. That's how we bypass the Pnei Yeshua's point. The Yeshua's Kasha was what? We have sake, we have 2.5 against 1.5. No. The probability makes it 1.5 against 1.5. How? Because Tachtov is less probability. It's against the Roiv, called probability Roiv. Right? Tachtov that happened in the last period of time, it's less if it's smaller. If time is a fact, I said, if we assume time is a probability.
It could be either way. It could be this way or that way.
No. Because time, it's a probability. It's not a possibility, it's a probability. Time is a factor that probably happened in a longer period of time than it happened in a short period of time.
Right, she could be, the engagement was 15 years.
Could be engagement, she got 3 years old, but it's not a Gemara. The Gemara says, the Torah says, she got engaged 3 years old. A normal girl gets engaged 13, 14, 12, 12.5, 13, 14, I don't know what age. But that's a normal way. So if you take between 3 years old to 13 or 14 years old or 15 years old, this the majority of time is before engagement. So if I have a barometer, a factor that says it didn't happen Tachtov, so then only not Tachtov, I'll stay with complete suffix. Why? If it happened in the field, she's also this finger, this hand, this finger. If a city they came to her, she's permitted. If she went to them, it's chetzi, it's 1.5 against 1.5. That's falachas kasete. And so that happened before. Right. But why Tosh was asking, what about this fake Yisua? So instead of saying that we can mochiach from Tosfos that fake is not as strong as Chazoko, it's not a roiv, and therefore Chazoko solves it, I'm saying there's no raya. Could be because there's another factor of time. And therefore it's an equal suffering that Chizkas will permit. The answer is V'shleimar Adarabe. The Chizkas of Besulim says that it happened in the period of Tachtov. So you may have fake Yisua. Yes. Yes.
So, but Tosis has every Tosis Kasha.
Tosis Kasha is very simple.
I want to get rid of. I want to make things better. Tosis says it happened before. Any time. Happened before.
The Svara of time will tell us that it happened before. The Svara of Chizkas Aguf tells us that it happened after. So now we can learn 2 ways in the answer of Tosis. That Abelab Chizkas Aguf neutralize it, or Tosfos doesn't talk about the Tosfos doesn't talk about the time. Tosfos doesn't talk about Chizkas time. So if you read the Tosfos simply, you have the Yeshua's Kasha. You have to Mechiach from Tosfos that Chazaka can sound Sveik Elisu. The way to bypass it is, I'm saying, if you're going to say that the time it is a factor, we'll see the Rashash inside. He calls it Svori Yeshua, the true Svori Yeshua. We'll see in a second. So the Svori Yeshua says the time says that which is a probability. Says that happened loy tachtov, so have a suffix sodeh, or if they came to her, sodeh also city if they came to her as mutos 1 against 1, and if she went to them it's chetzi chetzi, it's 2 stages 1.5 against 1.5, it's a suffix. So really chizkas the permit. In the second bill. Have to work it out. Now let's see the Rashash inside. Comes the Rashash and he says, Koshe.
But before it was 2.5, 2 against 2.5 against 1.5, according to the Rashi.
What?
According to the French, it was 2.5 against 1.5.
Correct.
And now
it's 1.5 because Tachtov is not an option in the probability. Because the probability of times that happened before. Okay, now let's see the Perusha. Let's see the Rashash. The Rashash, Koshe. מאוד אמרינם בחולין דסמכינם מיעוט דנית מלמחצן הנקייבויס. וכן ביבוא מסומוך מיעוט דמפילוס למחצן הנקייבויס. Comes the Rashash, he says, I don't understand. If I have 50, if I have Tachtov, loy Tachtov, right? In Tachtov, I have Oinus or Rotzoi. So let's use the Oinus, although Rotzon is Roiv, and Oinus is Miut, but the Roiv of the Rotzon doesn't nullify the Miut of Oinus. It's still around. So if I have Loy Tachtov is 50%, Tachtov is another 50%, and I have Rotzon, and you have Miut of Oinus, that should overtilt the 50% should be 51, whatever it is, a couple more percent, and then 150 million. Shouldn't be 50-50. So he says no. Very important yesod. Probability and possibility. 50% women, female, 50% male, it's nature. It's a reality, it's teva. But here's the possibilities. It's 50%. It's a real value chetzi. Masheket Tachtov is not 50%, just a side. Aval Koshe, but here starts the Rashash. Comes the Rashash and he says, Aval Koshe li, Madua lo inaylech b'Eishes Kohen. Why by Eishes Kohen we don't follow? Roiv Hazman, majority of time. She'ovar aleh otem shenisaso. From the moment of 3 years old until she got engaged, there's definitely majority of time between the engagement and marriage. So time should be a factor of probability. So here you can't say by chetzi nekevo is a chetzi, that's nature, that's probability. 50%. Tachtov is possibility. Good, great. But time is definitely probability. So therefore, majority roiv hazman is between the 3 years old before the engagement. So why is not a probability factor in the equation? Kemo, you find a raya. If I find money in Alabais, if I find money in the Temple Mount, even if the holidays are holidays, I don't assume that it came from Kochim for Korbanos. I follow the majority of the time of the year, and it's Chuli. The majority of the year.
yeah, but that's
Same kasha is 3 women wear clothing, haluk, echot, and one of them saw blood, you don't know when. The you have 3 women wear a garment, the woman that wore the longest, you assume that it happened by her or came from her. What do you want to say, Rabbi? Many places it says with the whole time should be a factor of probability. Yes, what was it moving?
in the case of the coins. Most of the year, the people use the coins. They use the coins, and that's what you say.
That's what he says. He says what you say. Very good.
Yeah, but
Rabbi Ruben, he says what
the
you...
woman is not like that. Who says that the most of the
Good,
years?
good. He says that, he says it himself. He says, even though you can push away the proof. Why? The Shani Shloim Aratam Ki Titztaf Kol Amoyes Dechuni Kol Hashon Yoiser Moyes the Meiser the Regel Kol Hashon. If you take all the amount of money is being lost, or there's being brought to Yerushalayim the whole year in a holiday, the whole year, it's small amount of money. So it's a probability of reality. But all the story concludes. Mikol Mokum, however. Asvara Ba'atzma Yashar here. You hear the Rashash. You hear this? The Rashash says, unbelievable. You have to listen to the Rashash. The true Rashash here. Mikol Mokum, Asvara Ba'atzma Yasharahi. The svara itself is straight. You hear Daniel? They have a straight svara or crooked svara. Crooked or straight. He says the svara Yashari is B'nezel B'saroi V'azman. Roi V'azman, and you have, like we have a sukkah, Roi V'korov. You find, you have Roi majority or close. You find a nipoy, right? You find a little bird, right? Majority of the city is around, majority of people are close to this coop, chicken coop or pigeon coop. Roi V'korov, the Gemara says, right? The Gemara has a shaila and Bobasa. Roi V'korov was stronger. What the Gemara includes? Roi, majority is stronger, because majority is a stronger probability. Roi Zman, majority of time, is majority of probability, because of many possibilities what happened here. Mimele, he says, hey, why Bayeshes Koyei? She's also, let us use the majority of time, the probability to happen, not under her. Wow! I saw the Yisrael says, wow! I have an answer to the Pnei Yeshua. The Pnei Yeshua added that even before the time, I have Sveik Sekel Yisrael. Why? Because if it's up in the field, she's also. Up in the city, she came to them as 50-50. They came to her, she's also. Right? And if it happened in Tachto is also. They have Tachto also. Field is also. And if she came to them as 50-50. So it's 2.5. Cut the third finger to half. Then you have not under him. They came to her, she's muto. She came to them as chatzi, 50-50. So 1.5 against 2.5, right? But if I have the fact of Zman, Shloya Shara. Shloya Shara says the Zman, Roiv Zman is a koivaz probability that it happened when before the engagement, not Roiv, Roiv, and the Roiv Zman. See, I don't have Sveik Sekel Yisrael, how can Cheskas Eter Mati? I have 1.5 against 1.5. Because the probability of Zman tells me that I happen Lo Tachto, and I have Sodeh is also Siri. If they came to her, she's Muto. If she came to them, it's 50-50, it's 1.5 and 1.5. Let Cheskas Eter follow and permit. That's the discussion. We don't have a higher from places that he argues in the Rashba. Because the only you have to say, Shekas and Yisur, I can tell you Shekas Matin, must be that it's not like a Roy and Cheskas Eter Matin by Shekas. He argues in the Rashba, right? We have to come up to that. Here I have one suffix, 1.5 against 1.5. He may look at Chazuk, and he says, Cheskas Yisur, Cheskas Aguf. It's all stronger. That's all. We just erase. Bye-bye. How are we going to answer the Marashash Kasha? Next choice is, B'ezrat Hashem, next week, we're going to solve that as well. B'ezrat Hashem. No, Rashash doesn't answer. Yeah, I have an answer for that. Yes. I think that's the answer.
What the Rashash is saying is a Kasha on the Lazar himself. Forget about Taisvis.
That's not true. That's how I explained the Buvin. It's not true because I'm answering. When Rabbi Elazar says also in the Gemara says talking about Eishes Kohen, we don't know why by Eishes Kohen is also. Is it because of one suffix Doraisa Lechumra, or because I have Sveik Lechumra? It's even stronger. I have like the Pnei Yeshua, I have Sveik Lechumra. We don't know. The Gemara doesn't say why.
But the Gemara says it's one suffix. Where
the Gemara says one suffix? The Gemara didn't say. Say the Gemara says something. Not the Gemara. You said the word Gemara. The Gemara says one suffix.
What did I say?
You said the Gemara said one suffix. It's not the Gemara didn't say one suffix. Yes.
In the Ritva, you see he's justifying why it's one suffix. You see in the Ritva.
I'm not bound to Ritva. We have to learn the Ritva now. But the Gemara didn't say anything. The Gemara says also. The Gemara says, you know what's the case of Abloso? It's not Sfeik Sfeik. It's just a scoring. So normally you learn simple, like he says, one suffix. The Ibn Yeshua says it cannot be one suffix. It's two Sfeikas. Sfeik Sfeik. And he stays like that. He just says, must be that Chazok itself is Sfeik Sfeik. And touches argues the Rashba. We don't destroy Ibn Yeshua's assumption. That when the Gemara says Eishes Kohen L'Yisrael Sheiks L'Yisur, we just say that it's not a factor Tachtov, because I have a probability of time. Roiv Zman, and Roiv Zman is Machir that happened Roiv Tachtov. In Meila, it's a Stut Sofik and Cheskas Eter Mati. Simple. Yes, because Tosis answer that Cheskas Aguv is stronger. So, now it's too much. Neutralize it.
Why did Rashash say that?
What?
Why did Rashash not say that?
Because the Rashash didn't talk about the first Tosfos. The Rashash talk about the second, third Tosfos in the page. And now next week we're going to solve this.
Bring it up. Why would he say that? Tosis is already into this kasha.
He didn't relate to that. He has a different kasha. His kasha is on Eishes Koyen when Tosis says there should be a Sveika of Mukas Eitz. Tosis is that by Eishes Kohen there's Sveika because you have a Mukas Eitz. That and that kasha he has, but let it be Mukas Eitz till the 50%, and he knocks that out. It's not really 50. It's not told of Nekevois. He says still a kasha, but you have Roiv Zman. It doesn't relate to the Tosis kasha Cheskas Eter, Cheskas Guf. He's not saying that. He's saying just the Cheskas of Roiv of Zman is a factor. Svori Yeshua there's a factor. The Machia. Correct.
And so if what the Rashash is saying is a roy,
correct. Like a roy.
Then it should overcome the Cheskes Aguf. It should overcome the Cheskes Aguf, and therefore, this answer is not an answer.
So that's what I said now. I just said now. I said that could be today's answer. Neutralize it. Neutralize. You know what's a neutralize? When you have Cheskas Aguf, which is Adarabe. But Tosis calls it Ruben the Rabon. It's not a strong roiv.
No, the Rashash doesn't say it's
by Sveik, Tosis says it's Ruben the Rabbanon. So I'm saying, in the answers of Tosis, I'm answering you. Yes, the kasha. I understand your kasha, Rabbi Yosef Chaim, and I answered it. I explained that when Tosis answers V'yesh Loimer Aderabe Cheskas Uvadifa, so I said there's Yesh Lachkor. What is Tosis saying? Tosis is saying that we follow Cheskas Aguf, or he's saying that Cheskas Aguf, since it's strong in all the Chazakos, so neutralize the Roiv Azman, the probability of Roiv Azman. Mela stays Sveik or Sofik Dorais Alechuma. Understand? That's what it means to this.
I want to say.
Yes, Rabbi. I can't hear. 1 second. Rabbi Yosef Chaim, we didn't finish with him. What? 1 second, Rabbi Shlomo. Rabbi Yosef Chaim didn't finish. What I said like this. Tosis kasha was, let's follow Cheskas Eter. The Ibn Yeshua threw in, how can Cheskas Pemir have Sveik L'Yisuro? So we answered. We said that there's another factor called Roiv Zman, and Roiv Zman is a probability, like Roiv V'Kol Echala Roiv, follow the Roiv Zman, and Mimele, the Tachtov is not a factor to have two Sveikas against Chazok. Don't Moichiach that Sveik L'Yisur Chazok wins it against the Rashba. Only here when the Sveika is weak, because the Tachtov is against probability of Roiv Zman. Only there we say Chazaka wins Sveik L'Yisur. Because the side of Tachtov is weak, because against the Roiv Zman. 1 second. Nimei is no raya that plays against the Rashba. And Tosis' answer was, what? So Tosis' answer, good, so Tosis answers. Tosis answers that since I have Cheskas Aguf, which normally is stronger than all the other Chazakas, I have Cheskas Aguf, so 1 second. So neutralize the Roiv. And neutralize the Roiv Zman. When, listen, careful. When the Chazaka follows the Roiv. So I don't have Sfeik Isura, I only have the Roiv tells me I only own Suffolk. Cheskas Eter goes on that Roiv, on the Suffolk, on the Suffolk of the Roiv, which is only one Suffolk. But when I have Cheskas Aguf, so I neutralize the Roiv of Zman, it maybe turns or to Suffolk Doraisa, or turn to Sfeik Sveika. And you know the Sfeik Isura is also. We see in Toises. Toises says Rotzoin is Roiv and Oines is no coil is a miut. And he calls that miut is not, he calls it a tzvik with the Rabbonon. It's not a Roiv Doraisa. It's a Roiv the Rabbonon. We're going to see soon next week what Toises means. We're going to have to deal with it. What it means. And I think that's what it means neutralize here. It neutralizes it. No, I'm not saying Roiv the Rabbonon. It's a probability. But Cheskas Aguf is a strong chazok in all the other chazokos, so therefore it brings it back to a suffix.
But we don't say that. We don't say that this chazak is stronger. It's stronger than everybody. We don't say.
We do say. We do say that.
Where do you have to find a proof? You have to bring.
I brought a proof in Dafain A.
Tyson says Ruben Rabbanon. That's a different.
Now, the Rabbanon, not this Toises. Toises Dafain A. Toises Dafain A. He says that Cheskas Aguf is stronger than all the chazokos. Okay.
But how do we know that to overcome the brain? That's the question.
It's wrong. Okay. Musa Shmuz. Yes, Reb Shlomo, yes.